All right, we're live. Hi,
Hey,
everybody. We are live today with Howie again. And we are going to talk about dating for the independent woman because I'm one of those people. And sometimes we have our own struggles. So we want to kind of talk about that because I know you're dating a very independent woman. So it'd be great to hear from a men's perspective. So welcome back, Howie.
thanks. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Okay, so I guess I want to just like preface why I'm so independent and why maybe a lot of women are kind of going in that route.
Hmm.
Uh, I am I realize that I'm putting up a wall when I'm very independent. It's almost like a protective mechanism or a defense mechanism so that if I get hurt, I will
Hmm.
know how to take care of myself, right?
Hmm.
And because of my divorce and several things, not just my divorce, but my family as well,
Hmm.
I have to rely on myself, but nobody else. There's pros and cons to that, and sometimes it could be hard in dating
Yeah.
when I'm like so independent, and there's the female and male dynamics, right?
Hmm.
Of wanting the men, I don't know, most of the men wants to kind of take the lead, the woman would kind of be more feminine and be receiving, so that could be an issue. So I'm wondering, with your experience, how is your dynamic with your girlfriend? Uh, if you don't
Oh,
mind sharing your story a little bit.
oh, sure. I met my girlfriend just over 5 years now, and
Mm,
it's definitely been a journey for both of us.
mhm,
I would like to self-identify as much more independent. I had traveled the world. I moved far away from my parents' place for university.
mm,
I moved across the country for a job here in Southern California. So, in a lot of ways, not unlike what you said, I had to take care of myself. I
right.
didn't have family or friend to lean on. It was like, well, sink or swim.
Mhm,
My partner, she's from Los Angeles and went to school around here.
mhm,
And for her, I think if I look at her, she is certainly much more independent now than
mm,
she used to be.
right.
And that was part of a growing process in the context of a relationship. And I think I've been told like, well, how did your partner get more independent in a relationship?
Mhm,
And I think it come down to one is for me the security knowing that she'll be okay if
yeah.
anything happens to me,
Mm,
but also that I enjoy having an independent partner.
mhm,
I am a safety net for her that she can go be more experimental, more risky, try career and whatnot. And the same for me. She enables just as much for me. I can be more risky with my career, where I want to go with my life direction, knowing that she can provide that support, which all goes back to your gratefulness development, allowing someone to support you in that way and
mhm,
rather than having that self pressure, especially for men, put pressure on myself. I have to support the family. I have to be the rock, all of that kind of thing.
mhm, mhm,
And so as she's grown more independent, the biggest benefit of all is it makes our relationship that much better.
mm.
She's a unique person. She's very opposite from me.
Okay.
So she'll explore all these new things and she's like, hey, you want to try this out? And nine times out of ten is I would have never investigated that myself. I would have shown
Mm,
zero interest of it by myself. Um,
mm,
you know, whether it be TV shows on Netflix to food to places to travel, events, all of the above.
yeah.
And that's been amazing for me.
For your self-development journey, because like
Mhm.
you help each other to elevate each other to
Mhm.
1 plus 1 more than 2
Yeah,
type of thing,
absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. And how did you encourage her to be more independent?
Um, I kind of I think me and her set the boundary early on in our relationship. Um,
Mm,
I've been in relationships where, let's say it's a very traditional male female dynamic.
mhm,
Men take care of things or fixes things and makes the money kind of thing.
yeah.
And so for after several instances of that, I found that, man, I just I don't enjoy that. It makes me feel like not only is it so hard to take care of yourself when you're by
Mm-hmm.
yourself out here,
Yeah.
and now I have to partially take care of another person. Like
Yeah. It's
that's
very
exhausting.
tiring. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when you have a partner that can take care of him or herself, it's like, okay, we have for our like 20% extra energy,
Yeah.
let's do something even better
Right.
with our combined energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. And so, what would you say when you were to go out right now in the dating world? Because I mean, like, like I guess okay. First of all, I think realizing why we're so independent is
Mhm,
important. So for me, it's because I'm putting up a wall, right? And
mhm,
so I realize that there's a spectrum
mhm,
of independence where I fall,
mhm,
and it's important to understand and be aware that sometimes I can let that go a little bit
mhm.
and not always have to do everything myself, right? So like where like with your example, where does that lie? Like when do you allow her to lean on you or vice versa?
I think it's a little bit of kind of peeling back the onions and layers because I
Mm,
think it's directly related to the level of trust in a
yeah.
relationship.
Hmm.
And so it's not to say, hey, day one, you should trust me and you should just completely lean on me, that kind of thing.
Mm,
But if, when you mentioned if I were to go out there, I would try to identify a partner who was already independent and
mm,
demonstrated that, whether it be traveling by yourself or
right.
having hobbies and really having this attitude of if you want to come along, that's great. If not, that's okay too. I'm going to do it
Right.
anyways.
Yeah.
And that for me is a very attractive trait because that means
Mm.
I don't have to take care of you. It means I don't have to always be doing the mental labor that
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
trust and rely on my partner to do some of that mental labor.
Right. But now my question is then, in terms of finance, then how do you divide that?
I think finance is a
Because the independent woman is like, I'll take care of myself,
Mhm. I think it's a personal issue, and I think it's a little less about the dollars and cents, and it's more of having the compatible short, medium, and long term goals and values
Mm,
in life.
mhm, mhm,
We've talked before about how financial independence is a huge thing, right?
mhm.
And you can certainly do it by yourself,
Yeah,
and when you're with a partner, it can certainly accelerate that
yeah.
kind of thing. And so if your values are compatible, I think the finances you can work it out and say, this will be my
Mm,
contribution, that'll be my contribution. Do you split things 50-50? Do you split
right.
things proportional to your income? Um, any which way, it's a communication and a values issue.
Hmm. Hmm. And yeah, that should be communicated, I guess, right from the beginning of the relationship. So, do you believe then that the men should pay for the first date?
Um, I, I think it's at the very first date. I think
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with the man or the woman. I think it has
Uh
to do with
huh.
what are your personal feelings.
Okay.
Um, for me, is I would like to
Mm,
pay for a date because I had a great time. I enjoyed your company. I wanted to extend a token of appreciation. And
mm,
since it's the first date, the number of token of appreciation is like very little. Um,
right.
but if, my date were to say, hey, I'd like to split 50-50, I'm like, okay, I will allow you to extend your gratefulness as well
Mm.
and not let my ego get in the way of trying to build a relationship.
Right, right. And okay, this is very important. So, how do you drop your ego as a man? Because I think that's not easy at all. Like, when you
Mhm,
specialize in emotional intelligence. So, I would
mhm,
love to know what kind of got you here to be able to do that. Because I think that's a big hindrance in a lot of relationships right now because of not just men, I mean, women too have our
mhm.
own ego, right? So, we'd love to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it starts off with upbringing, cultural values, sheer stubbornness. To say that, oh, I want I want to make something of myself. I want
Yeah.
to prove
Mm-hmm.
something. But who are you proving to, and what are you trying
Mm,
to prove?
mm,
And that's one part. And then the second part is the mission or goal bigger than what you're trying to prove? And
mm,
to be fair, I think it's most of the time it's more the mission is more important than my pride.
mm,
And I think, and that's when I go through that train of thought of what do I care about more, my feelings or my pride or accomplishing a goal, I
mm.
default to accomplishing a goal,
Right.
which is how I get, that INTJ, very
I
low.
was gonna say you're very logical. Yeah.
Right? And so I'll tell my feelings like, hey, feelings, you know, you can take a back seat right now. I've got other things I'm more interested in right now.
Mm.
Building a life with my partner, achieving our shared goals and dreams.
That is very interesting way to dissect that, because I feel like logical people sometimes are like emotionalist, but not true because you still have feelings, but now you can actually leverage it. It's
Mhm.
almost like in times where there's pride, which is a certain emotion, you'd be like, nope, what is the bigger mission? I'm going to use my logic to override that. That is so interesting. This is how you develop emotional intelligence with a very logical mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
I would definitely say in my youth, I would feel like, oh, emotions just get in the way of things.
right.
Like you're so angry or you're so sad that you can't focus and get the mission done.
Yeah.
So I would default to being more logical.
Hmm.
But what I realized is the emotions can be energy, and if you can
Mm,
wield that and channel that energy,
yeah.
it will motivate you and fuel you to go that extra distance.
Yeah.
If your job is just a job, then you can grind it all on. But if you have feelings and strength and passion and feel that into your job, you can say, "Man, this job's terrible. I'm going to find something better for me. I'm
Right.
personally invested in this, mission. I'm going to put it to 120%." Like
Hmm.
how much opportunity there is to, further your goals.
Right, right. I love that. Thanks for sharing. And hi, Michelle. I was just seeing her on the comments as well. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions at all, please let us know so we can discuss too.
Hmm.
Am I lagging behind? I feel like
You seem okay to me.
you seem okay. Okay. All right, cool. And I guess, however, like when a woman is too independent, though, is it threatening to you as a man?
So I get that. I get that in the traditional context.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I would challenge everyone and say, "What's it threatening?
Why is it threatening?
What is it? Why is it threatening? What is it threatening?"
I don't know. I'm not a guy, but I'm just kind of like trying to figure out. Well, that's why I'm kind of asking you. Would you feel like it's threatening at all?
So traditionally, it would be
Yeah.
threatening your ego, your
Hmm.
worth, and I'll be first to say a lot of men deal with struggles of self worth
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Well, women too. Yeah.
value they bring. Um,
Hmm.
and so I understand as a man, like traditionally, your value is often determined by your profession, by your income,
Hmm.
by your how many houses, how nice your car, something like
Hmm.
that is, right?
Hmm.
But when you realize that no, that's wrong.
Hmm.
I I don't think you can measure a person's life by, oh, he has a net worth of 1 million and he has a net worth of 10,000. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it doesn't mean they're one person's 100 times more valuable.
No, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And so if you throw that logic out the window, then what do you have left? Your value is intrinsic to you and
Yes.
what you feel strongly about and what you assign it to.
Hmm.
And by that definition, it means nobody, including my partner or the person I'm dating, can threaten that.
Mm, I love it. Well, hi, Chris. Hi, Christine. She's here, excited to hear our conversation again. Um, this brings this concept of intrinsic value brings me back to a concept that Matthew Hussey taught. So
Mhm.
Matthew Hussey is like this relationship expert, right? And I
Mhm.
went to his retreat and everything, and he has a very big YouTube channel that talks about dating advice. And he talks about confidence in
Mhm.
three different layers.
Mhm.
Now, the superficial confidence is kind of like, well, if I have the house, the car, the title, the money, then I'm
Mhm.
confident, right?
Mhm.
And then it peels back to now just your values. It's like if those things are stripped away from me, but if you're still confident in yourself, you
Mhm.
of your abilities, then you're confident. So, like, I don't know, you're very smart, then you'll go out in the world and make more money. Or if you can give a lot of value to people, that's what you can do. So even if you've lost the external things in the world,
Mhm.
you can always make it back. Now, the core value comes from what if you lost everything,
Mhm.
including your personality, your quality, even your ability to move. Like sometimes maybe you got into an accident or something, and
Mhm.
that's like your truest core value and confidence, saying who you are is already enough.
Mhm.
And I think those people are the ones who are the most magnetic in a way, because they know no matter what happens to you, they're still worthy. And so I think that's a goal that at least I am trying to cultivate and move towards. And once we have that core confidence, knowing no matter what happens, we're enough, people kind of get drawn to you, because I think that's a bit rare in society. And relationships, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter, because you're still inherently good as a person.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that, and I think not only is it tied to if you're at rock bottom and
Mm-hmm.
your ability to put yourself back together, if an accident, breakup, divorce,
Right.
all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But to flip it onto the other end is you maintain your ability and opportunity to evolve and grow
Yeah.
even in the good times.
Mm.
Because I don't think, oh, things are well, therefore you should be just stagnate.
Right.
I think
Right.
I think by definition that is not independent, that you just kind of are.
Mm.
And I don't, I think between, us, we have decades more to live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're the same people we were when we were 10, when we were 20.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be the same person when I'm 40 or 50.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to keep that mindset of growth at any point, I think is the central value.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's having a growth mindset.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's the core value that you and I share. And I
Hmm.
think if most people can kind of cultivate that,
Hmm.
then the relationship seems to be easier, because they're able to focus on getting better every day.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
I would remark that particularly in the Asian Western community culture,
yeah,
there's a sense of hoarding in that
mm-hmm.
material wise, you need to acquire material success, and
Mm-hmm.
there's 1,001 reasons for it, uh,
Yeah,
and I don't think we'll get too into that. Uh, but that also extends to mentally and emotionally. Like, this
mm,
is who I am, and I need to keep it safe as possible. And
mm,
if anything were to question it, if there was the possibility that you were wrong,
yeah,
you just might break. And I think a lot of people are stuck in that trap. Whereas,
mm,
whereas growing and changing doesn't necessarily signify that, oh, you were wrong or you wasted 1, 5,
mm,
10
so good.
years. It's more of saying, this has served me till now. I'm going to try something new, do something new to serve me in the future.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I would just use even my own example, right? Like my divorce was like on the surface a failure,
Mhm.
but it's such a growth for me. It's like the best
Mhm.
thing that happened to me, because it's like now forcing me to really look within myself and what it's intrinsically true for myself, what is authentic, instead of what society tells me what it should be, right?
Mhm.
And now that transition going back into the dating world, now I have a lot more clarity in terms of what works for me, right? Instead of being stuck kind of in a marriage that not necessarily works, it's just so that we can kind of keeping up with the Jonases to say that we need a marital status for us to be happy. And sometimes it doesn't always work that way, and that's okay. But I think the society sometimes still have that narrative of like, you know, if you're not coupled, then there must be something wrong with you. If you're over 30, like the whole China, like leftover woman thing, like that whole narrative, it could be very damaging to people's self-esteem. And I think the world is changing. So let us know in the comments below, guys. I know there's a lot of people watching right now. If you agree to this in terms of dating as an independent woman and what it means to you as well. We would love to hear what you think.
What you just said exactly reinforces the external people are deciding your value and values rather than that intrinsic. I'm determining for myself what are my value and values. And you know, in your example with the divorce, I'm not thrilled that you went through that pain and that hardship, but it's, you know, there's that external opportunity, or should I say motivation, for you to, you know, redevelop yourself, starting from a, you know, ground up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's great if you could have that for yourself. That motivation is like, I don't need to or hope that, you know, some big life event, you know, is my motivation. It's
right.
My motivation is today, here, now.
Yeah. And how we can maximize that every day. Right? Yeah.
And some days you're like, 20%, I'll shower today. But, you know, some days, you know, when you can really channel that emotion and energy, it's like, okay, today I'm gonna build a new business. I'm gonna call it Unconventional Asian. Amazing, right? Like, you know, that was a slow march. It wasn't like a one day it didn't exist. The second day it was all set up.
Right. It took time. Yeah, to cultivate. Like anything in life that's worthwhile, it takes time, like a relationship. Or like, you know, a business, anything that you build. And I remember we had a conversation after a live that our society, in Asian society especially, is very outcome based. Right. So with dating nowadays, I had such difficult time earlier when I go on the dating apps. It's like, no, I'm here to find someone. And then when I don't find someone, I'm like, get all frustrated. It's like, why didn't that date go well? And, you know, and it becomes a very stressful experience instead of really enjoying the journey and having fun with it. So now that I'm going back into the dating scene, it's very interesting. I see it as like an experiment of self-discovery. Because I'm like very into self-development. So like, that's really fun for me. And so I would like say, go on a date, right? And then you like, I start to evaluate, how do I actually feel about this person? Because I tend to be very agreeable and like very friendly. And so the conversation is usually great. But I literally have to like evaluate on a scale of like 1 to 10, how good was that to me? Not what other people think, like, but to me. And then like, am I attracted to him? Not what society thinks that he's attractive. Like, what does that mean to me? So it's like really finding my authentic selves according to my scale that makes me happy, right? No matter what other people say. And that comes from the heart instead of the head. Because a lot of times we, you know, rationalize things, but there is a balance because you do have to care. You know, certain things are going to be realistic. But if you're an independent person, however, then the relationship is about, I guess, adding more love for each other instead of taking from each other. Then the qualities that you're looking for might shift when you feel more complete as a person. Because the dating experience that I'm having this time is very different from like when I like from a few years ago when I tried like so hard to like find a person. I'm just really frustrated in the process.
Yeah, you said it absolutely right, where the goal should be to have fun.
Yeah.
Because I think you can be able to, hey, we go on a date, we had fun, it was great, we're not compatible, and that's okay.
And that's okay, exactly.
You're two unique people, and that's the point of the date, the discovery, not only parts of the other person, but the parts of yourself.
Yeah.
And doing that comparison and saying, hey, you know, easy example, this person's amazing. They're funny. We have great commonalities. They want kids. I don't.
Hmm.
Right. And this is not a value that
You
if
can
I were
compromise.
to compromise, then
Yeah.
you had a great time. I think you're a wonderful person, but I don't think we should start a relationship.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with that. And I always do this thing where I fantasize about the relationship and like have this illusion in my head that this is going to be so great or whatever. And then by the time meet the person, it
Hmm.
might not like meet my expectation, but because I've invested so much in my head that this person is a certain way, I would actually force myself to go through the relationship, which is really silly. But I know a lot of people do that too. It's not just
Hmm.
me because I've talked to other ladies who like
Yeah.
been through the same pattern. So I kind of
Hmm.
want to call it out and call myself out. And it's very normal as well because the hormones, oxytocin, that comes
Hmm.
out when the honeymoon stage when people
Hmm.
are going through. It's because it's physically and biologically wanting you to bond with the person and make babies. That's why you will feel all these things and
Hmm.
your perception will be tinted. It's like a rose-colored tinted glasses that you're wearing that you can't see them for who they are. And now I have a rule that I need to like literally wait for 3 months before like if I'm like going through all those hormones, I'm like, do not make a whole like life decision until 3 months later because I can't see anything right now.
No, like you said, very common. So anyone listening in, don't feel bad if you do that.
Right, exactly. It's
Be
part
hard
of
on
like
yourself.
biology.
Yeah, I think it's more of the recognition that just as much as you have this fantasy in your head
Hmm.
of the relationship, um, oftentimes so does the other person.
Right,
And
right. It's
so,
not just me. I'm not crazy.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so for two people to come together, and you
Mm,
have all this manufactured, in your head that what you imagine a relationship's going to be like. And then all I tell clients is like, hey, you know what? Just as awesome as my imagination could have been, real
uh-huh.
life has been even better.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
right.
there's been surprises, and there's been
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
thrills and all that, and of course there's been hardship and struggle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, at the end, coming out of all of it, better than I could have imagined.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's the best.
And so with that training, um, I try my best and stop having expectations,
Yes, yes, yes,
because
yes.
when you have expectations up here, yeah, they might be met, yeah, they may be exceeded, but you might be disappointed.
Right.
But if you accept the people as they are,
Yeah.
and you don't hold them to expectations, they can only surprise you. And
Mm,
when you have that perspective, it's like everything's a win, even the small things, even the big things.
mm. That's so great. I love that. It does make a difference every time I go on a date and then I go on
Mhm.
a date and I have no expectation and I'm like, oh, interesting. Like I didn't expect that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
And that carries well into your relationship. Um, you know,
Mm,
um, things like chores, right? There is no expectation that I have to cook, right?
right,
Me and my partner agreed that I going to do more cooking because I enjoy cooking more. Uh,
right.
but there's no expectation. And so when you frame things like that, everything at its heart has gratefulness. I'm
Mm,
grateful when my partner does the laundry. It means I don't have to do it,
yeah.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I never get mad at her saying, "Oh, you didn't do the laundry." It's like, is that big a deal? No. Can I wait a day? Yeah. Like
Right. You pick your
I'm
battles.
I'm not stressing myself. I'm
Mm,
not making things hard for us.
mm.
Self-soothing myself and saying, worst comes worst, I can do laundry. I
Yeah,
I can make dinner. We can go buy dinner.
right.
Like when you think about all these problems or conflicts that you have in a relationship, how many of them are really worth a relationship?
Mm, yeah,
Not most of them.
that's true. Yeah,
And
we always like bicker over like the smallest things. You didn't put down the toilet seat, and then the next thing you know, it's like all this crap from before comes out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that goes to the heart of the relationship. I choose my partner.
Mm,
And if there
yeah.
was like a fundamental incompatibility, because we grew and changed down the road, we would discuss it and see if it's something we can compromise, or if it's not, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But it's a day by day thing. It's an
Mm,
event by event thing as
right.
as as we grow together.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. There are a lot more people watching because Christine shared it on Subtle Asian Relationships. Thank you, Christine and Michelle. I'm glad I made you laugh. So, anybody watching, please let us know in the comments if you have any questions at all. Hi, Jessie. Regarding relationships, dating, how it is like to be dating it for an independent woman right now.
Mhm,
For me, it's like dropping my expectations, like you
mhm,
said, but then, I mean, you also have to understand your core values and your
mhm.
deal breakers,
Yep.
right? And then being able to catch that.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this is like an overkill. I'm kind of like wanting to start a spreadsheet. Like,
I mean,
you
it's
know,
not the worst thing in the world. I've definitely.
but more like it's a data gathering thing for myself. It's almost like a
Mhm.
journal, but
Yeah.
to put like a scale of 1 to 10. How do I feel? Like a scale of 1 is like, well, I don't feel anything. 10 is like, oh, this is the best thing ever, right? To determine, like, say, oh, do I have chemistry with this person? And then do I have like physical attraction with this person?
Mhm,
Are we like values wise, how are we compatible? And then kind of have different categories
mhm,
to evaluate if this person it's what I'm looking for, I guess,
mhm,
in a way. Um, just beyond the physical or the
mhm.
hormones, right? Because like you got
Yeah.
to be realistic at the same time. So I think it's such a rational way to look at it,
Mhm.
and then you can kind of cross compare. I know it's like getting a little nerdy, but I think it works for me. So I wonder if something that
No,
helps the audience as
I,
well.
I would never discourage that. If the only thing it demonstrated was, it takes a snapshot of you in your life, and you
Mm,
can, a year from now, 2 years from now, you can take another snapshot and just look at yourself and say, well, how did I grow, as change and evolve as a person? And
yeah.
that's, if anything, I just enjoyed that for my own,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
interest, my own, I just want to know.
Right, for yourself. No, for sure. Like at the end of the day, it's also a self-discovery journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, dating situation. Okay, we have a lot of people talking right here in the comments. I love it. So Jesse was asking if there's any tips for making things fresh with my Asian husband.
What do you mean by fresh?
What do you mean by fresh, Jesse? Like the chemistry, I would
Hmm.
imagine.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, people grow and change and evolve. So the type of person you were maybe when you first dating, the first year or two, compared to like now, if you're in a more long term relationship, um, you're different people, and you're same but different. And
Mhm,
so to really communicate with each other, what did you enjoy back then? What do you enjoy now? Is there something we can you know, re reinvigorate and say, hey, it was so great to have like those, very hot date nights. You go out to get dress up nice, go out of town, try to impress each other, right? I think it's a lot more goes down to like when you're in a long term relationship, you almost get complacent,
mm,
and the amount of energy you put into, for example, trying to impress a person is much lower. And
mhm,
there's nothing wrong with that from time to time. This is a very relationship um, unique context, right? I can say, hey, freshen it up, go try new sex positions, right? Like
yeah.
that will not work across the board. And I
Mhm,
can also say, hey, you can go on a trip to, Africa or something, and that
right.
will not work across the board. Really communicate, if you guys, and this is not like we're in a rut, therefore we need to refresh. You can be in a great spot in your relationship. Say, hi, I want to try something new.
Mhm, mhm.
I want to try solo backpacking. Okay, go for it. I want
Yeah.
to, I want to try, hey, let's quit our jobs and work on a farm. Well, okay, I'm down for it, and fits our plans. Um,
Yeah.
are there more considerations? Absolutely, but it's not something that you can't work through as a team.
So at the end of the day, it's really communication
Absolutely.
to see what works for you. Like the things that you have mentioned are new external activities
Mhm.
uh, that might stimulate, like more chemistry and freshness, right?
Mhm.
In a couple, but that might not be something that stimulates the couple.
Yeah.
So then it's like, what specific values do you both hold that you can tweak to make it more exciting?
Mhm.
I think that would make sense, right?
Yeah, and to be clear, it doesn't mean or represent anything's wrong with the relationship. 0%, 0%.
Mm,
Um, it could, you try something new. What's the worst that can happen is you tried it and wow, we don't like that. Let's never do that again.
right.
You learn something new. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's fun because like you learn something new about each other you would never otherwise know.
hmm And then the best case scenario, wow, I had zero expectations and I really like that. Let's try
Mm,
it again. Let's try to add it to our regular weekly curriculum. Let's go
mm.
open water swimming now, right? Like what anything under the sun is
Yeah,
perfectly valid.
right. Love it. Yeah. So Jessie says, yeah, they've been together for 17 years and so great
Um,
to hear. And that she's just curious, what's your biggest takeaway? Like from a relationship standpoint, Jessie, is that what you mean? Oh,
hmm?
Howie, do you know?
But,
She goes, uh, just curious, what is your biggest takeaway?
I would say the biggest takeaway would be never stop having fun with each other and
Mm,
not take things personally.
mm,
Recognize that you're individuals, and I think a lot of people, a lot of couples fall into like they've been together, and so they're kind of this amalgam single unit, and people.
mm,
And you can see that in your social circle where like your friends don't refer to one or the other; they just
mm.
refer to you both.
Right. Oh, yeah. You need to be an individual. That's
Yeah.
important. Yeah, yeah. So hence the independence thing again, right?
And so the takeaway is to maintain your identity as
Mm,
well as like don't lose yourself. Don't you can certainly be a good partner and compromise because
mm.
you care about the relationship, you care about your partner, you want to please them, all of the above.
Yeah,
But that should not take away from that your uniqueness. That shouldn't
right.
take away from your identity.
I love that. Great. Okay, so Christine's asking me a question. As a woman, do you ever feel the pressure to be the cool girlfriend? The cool girlfriend is the one who can be one of the boys, yet always perfectly put together and feminine. Yes, I do have the pressure. The one who never gets upset and is never clingy or jealous, etc. Yes, I do feel that pressure. How should women handle the pressure and balance it with being authentic? Very good question. Um, Honestly, I do because I think, especially as independent women, that's that narrative that's put on us. It's like, well, we're cool, calm, and collected, right?
Mhm.
But right now, I'm doing a lot of inner work to honor my feelings,
Mhm.
and I think regardless if it's like an independent woman or woman in general or a human in general, that we take our personal responsibility for our own emotions with
Mhm.
exactly what Howie is very good at with emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
And the being cool would be kind of your byproduct anyways, because you're just being a decent human being. And so that's authentic because you're processing your emotions for yourself and taking responsibility for it, instead of thinking that, you know what, I'm being cool for other people. I'm like doing it for me, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, that's kind of what like my answer is. Um, and being put together and feminine and also being one of the boys at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, I am interesting in a way. I'm kind of naturally like that. Like, as in, I'm very adventurous by nature. So I do a lot of like cool things. Uh,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I do have that feminine side as well.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't say I had really need to change myself to have that balance, like Gemini, bipolar, like feminine and masculine. So I don't know if that really answers your question, because I naturally do that. I know it's annoying that I kind of have that, but I think we all have it. The yin and the yang, it's just the percentage. Even in men, there's femininity, there is masculinity in all of us, right? It just, everyone's proportion is different, and you don't have to change that proportion based on what other people tell you.
I love how you said, it's a byproduct of
Yeah.
you being your authentic self. And, to be clear with everyone, there is no right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
exactly as you said, recognizing that we're people, and, I might be 30% this, 10% that,
Yeah.
whatever. But there is no roadmap to being a man or a woman. And to really do it, embrace your authenticity and do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's your story. My favorite example that I use is fashion designers. There's a bunch of guys who all care
Yeah.
about fashion. You might know them as like Christian Louboutin or Marc
Yeah.
Jacobs or
That's true.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they masculine? Are they feminine? I think they're living their best life.
Exactly. Who cares? Yeah. 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 I like that.
And on the flip end, I can say, for anyone who keeps track of MMA, like women's MMA, Ronda Rousey, like, is she masculine? Is she feminine? And it's like, no, she's just living her best life. It happens to involve beating up some people, but, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's whatever percentage of feminine and masculine you feel you need to be, and that can also shift and change over time.
Yeah.
Again, because I'm such a Gemini, I am everywhere, and moment by moment that can change. And that's your authenticity at the moment, and you need to. I know sometimes it's a little bit unpredictable, but whoever that loves you for you will accept that, and it'll able to handle that. So yeah, there's no need to really, I guess, change yourself. But I guess in a way it's interesting for me because I tend to adapt to my environment. So I'm not necessarily changing my core to fit within the environment. It's just because I like almost I can see like a lot of different perspective. So but that it's still me though, because we're very multidimensional.
And I think another going back to expectations is just allowing the person to surprise you. I'll give you an example. I like seeing my partner in makeup, dress, heels, all that. I think she looks super hot, super feminine.
Yeah.
And I have no expectation if she does that. If she wants to do it for me, she can do that for me. If she wants to do it for herself, she can do it for herself. But I appreciate it. And so when she doesn't want to, and most of the day she doesn't want to, I'm like, okay, you're amazing. You're still hot. I still want to love you and build my life with you and enjoy adventure with you and all that. That's just a tiny bit of, everything. I think it would be, inappropriate to find any single thing and be like, yeah, the relationship's going to hinge on this, right? If it really did, we'd call it a value. And if it's a value and you're incompatible, then you wouldn't be together anymore.
Right. Yeah, I love it. So at the end of the day, it's really finding out who you authentically are, whatever that means, and finding the other half that accepts you exactly for who you are, but at the same time wants to grow together.
Yeah, I want to grow. I want to be the best version of myself, not only for myself, but knowing that I have a supporter, a cheerleader who wants that for me too. It's so empowering, right? And so as I deal with issues, self-esteem, body image, anything like that, I say, am I the fittest I could ever be? Thanks COVID. No, I'm not. Right. But I'm motivated to say, hey, I want to look better for myself. I want to work out for myself, and I want to look better for my partner to give, be aesthetically pleasing for her.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I love that. And I remember the last conversation that we had offline, that you said something that I think will really be helpful for the really adventurous, independent woman like me.
Mhm.
Because you were saying how it's someone who is compatible to this type of person would be a man or a woman, whichever way, right?
Mhm.
That you would allow you to go on adventures and still
Mhm.
have a home to come back to that you feel safe.
Mhm.
And so, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, and so I would say one of the largest. I don't know if the word struggle is right, but
Mm,
when you're an independent person, man or woman, you have to provide everything for yourself.
right.
And so, that security net, that safety net, you have to provide it for yourself, and you have to divert some portion of time, energy, finances towards providing that for yourself.
Hmm.
When you have a partner who's willing to say, "Hey, I'm willing to step up and be there for you,"
Mm,
it allows you to go out there. It
hmm.
allows you to be risky. It allows you to do even more self discovery, risky self
Hmm.
discovery.
Hmm.
And on the foundation of trust in your relationship, knowing that no matter what happens, I can go back to my home
Yeah,
and there'll be someone there ready and waiting for me, supportive
right.
of me. And for the person at home to say, I'm going to trust you to come back.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think many of us have heard like, oh, if you love something, let it go, kind of
Yeah,
thing back.
yeah.
But I think it's the uh, application of that trust, knowing
Mm,
that this person values me so much that they'll come back, that they're not going
right.
to cheat on me, that they're not going to, flee the country and start a new life somewhere, right?
Yeah,
That's part of building yourself up.
yeah.
I want to be an amazing partner. I'm not going to just lay on my couch, play video games all day, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, this is what she has to look forward to.
Mm,
I want to, because it's a two-way street.
hmm.
I want to be able to look forward to like, hey, maybe today's my day to go out and be risky and
Hmm.
do some self-discovery, and I'll come back and I'll know that everything's taken care of.
Yeah, and that's the best combination. So it's kind of like my flight attendants family,
Hmm.
where sometimes we just like fly away and then come back home, and then the family is still very intact and very secure
Hmm.
and very comfortable. And there are people out there like that. I just want to tell you. So yeah,
And and
thanks for
and I
sharing.
think that's a great example because I think by extension, the people you care and trust and love in your life, family or friends, right?
Hmm.
I personally have relationships with friends who is like, oh, they're around the world. I see them once per year, maybe
Yep.
we talk maybe twice per year. But
Yep.
as soon as we're together, we just have fun.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
And there's the implied, I know that they're there for me if I'm in a pinch, and I know that if
Mm.
they're in trouble, that they can reach out to me, and
Yeah.
I won't be like, oh, I can't be here for you. No, it's more of what can we do,
Yeah.
and to really build that community.
Yeah. No, so true. So true. So I remember a quote that says, I think sums this up perfectly. It
Hmm.
says, your partner should be someone who drives you wild, but
Hmm.
feel like home at the same time.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. My partner likes to scare me, or
It's exciting, it's
do
adventurous, it's
right,
fun,
or say,
but
hey,
at
we're
the same time you
gonna we're
feel,
gonna go travel here. Just pack the bag and get in a car. I'm like, okay, I trust that we're not gonna, go somewhere with no heat or water or food, and we're gonna have fun.
right.
And that's faith. That's trust in a relationship.
Hmm. Hmm. And confidence in both of you.
Hmm.
So Michelle asks, questions for both of you. How important do you think personality types are in finding a compatible partner? I'm an INFP, and I've observed I tend to get along better with certain types than others. Very good question. What do you
So
think?
I'm a INTJ dating an ENFP.
Mm,
So does it get more opposite?
yeah. And interesting because I feel like the opposites attract in terms of personality, where you are um, fitting the puzzle pieces together
Hmm.
when you're the opposite, because you can add perspectives that both of you don't have, then you can be more complete in that sense, right? But your core values have to be aligned, because that cannot change. Rarely can it change. So I think that's more a thing that you need to really figure out and make sure you're on the same page. And then with personality, I realized I have observed a lot of people, they are better opposites. But then you also need like really good communication skills. When you have opposites perspective, you have to be able to agree to disagree.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think that level of compromise is core to any relationship of any, personality types and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's about understanding your partner, communicating with your partner, recognizing your boundaries, and recognizing that you can push the boundaries a little bit, but you still want to have your partner in your heart.
Yeah.
An example would be my partner loves, hey, big parties, lots of friends.
Right.
I'm like, I got like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of energy, and then we need to leave.
Right.
I'm done with this, right? And so I do want to go out and have fun and meet people and enjoy my partner and see her in her, best environment.
Yeah.
And then I will signal to her to say, hey, I'm kind of done. If you want to stay, go for it. If you want to come home with me, go for it. We have the power of Uber and vehicle.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
It's not like I had a bad time. It's not like I don't like, what's going on. It's more of I'm taking care of me.
Yeah. No, yes, really good. Okay, so Christine says she is ESFJ and then INTJ boyfriend. I know so many INTJ guys, like so many, and it's supposed to be rare. Like they're like 2% everywhere. I'm like attracting INTJs. And she goes, if you like zodiac signs and Myers-Briggs, you should really look into Enneagram. It has helped immensely in my self-understanding. I actually do know Enneagram. I'm a 7, which explains my crazy, all over the place personality and adventure ISFP. Like, yeah, because I like everything.
Okay, so I remember mine. I'm 5 wing 4, but I don't remember what it means.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly either.
5 is
wing 4.
Intense, cerebral, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. Yep, sounds about right.
Sounds like you.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm a number 7, which means enthusiast. So I like to try everything. That's what it says.
Yeah, and to be clear, I like to try things too. There's, I don't think any one personality has a lock on it. I think some people are like, I like to try new things, but I want to stay in my little safety and try something slightly different.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah.
Versus I'm okay with, I'm going to eat deep fried bugs, whatever. Like, right?
I can't do that yet, actually. Okay, I guess not everything.
Right. And so for me, I just I enjoy novelty. I enjoy security and, expectations that I can look forward to. Right.
Yeah.
But I think that if that's all I had, I'd just get bored.
Right. So I guess like coming back to like my spreadsheet, right? Like for dating. So you can, well, I mean, again, because I like to try everything, I'm the experimenter, then I would kind of do like, and see how I feel, right? Like say, for example, this person, it's like a Scorpio, which I've dated like so many times.
Dating Scorpio.
Yeah. And how do that interaction feels like? Right? Like when we're looking at personality, how does the other, like say, I don't know, an Aries feels like then you can test out what works for you, right? But again, a person is so complex that we can't really just narrow it down to one like zodiac sign or one Enneagram or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, I would think that's almost insulting to say, oh, you're just a zodiac time, you're just your Enneagram.
Right.
And that's part of the if you enjoy discovery. Not only discovering yourself, but also discovering your partner.
Right.
I would say for someone like you, Clover, is like when you're so compromising, when you're so agreeable, as you know, from someone looking outside in, I would say, okay, that's amazing, but it's so hard to discover the real authentic you because
Right.
you're okay with everything.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't even know who I am. I mean, like, that's the thing.
And then I would say, well, I want to encourage the real authentic you. I'm not
Right.
dating just a piece of paper. I'm not dating a list of attributes on a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I'm dating
yeah.
someone who grew up in unique circumstances, had lived an amazing, unique life, have all these experiences.
Yeah,
That's the most important part because that's one I would want for myself. But
of
two,
course.
it sets the tone for your future, right? If you're looking for long-term relationships, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, that's going to be a discovery of yourself and your partner.
Yeah.
It's a journey. And so implicitly, you're kind of signing up for that.
That's true. That's why it's so important that you find the right partner for you, not for anybody else, because you're the one stuck with it.
Yep.
Okay, so Howie, what kind of novelty do you like? Michelle asked.
I'm up for anything.
Oh.
And I'm the type, I'll try anything twice. And I say twice because the first time you don't know if it was just sheer luck that was, it was a bad situation. And it allows me the chance to discover myself, not only that moment, but in different moments. What I maybe despised 10 years ago, maybe I like it now. I'm a different context. I'm a different person, that kind of thing. When I was younger, I enjoyed traveling, but I also had a higher tolerance for, more roughing it a little more. I also had less money. And nowadays, right, like I still enjoy traveling, but now I'm like, I think I'll go for the private room in a hostel.
Right, instead of sharing with everybody else.
Because I'm tired of listening to people snore and I will treat myself, right? And so it's those little things. And maybe, in a trip, I can be like, I will do 7 days of hostel. And one day I'm going to go ball out and go 4 seasons, right?
Right. Oh,
I don't know
like
what's there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think this goes back to the expectations. I don't think it's possible for me to just say, oh, I've never tried anything, so I'll make a judgment on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it a couple of times and then be like, okay, this is my feelings on it. Because I leave that space to be surprised.
Yeah, I like that. I love how people are talking in the chat. It's awesome. You guys are so cute. Adrienne and Andrew, yes, ask us questions. And Jesse says, you're still young, Howie. Yes, you are. We all are, right? Young at heart.
It really is. Age is a mindset.
I agree with that.
I think I'm just as adventurous as I was 5-10 years ago.
But in different ways, right?
In different ways.
Yeah.
And as as your body and your life changes, like I'm stronger now. I can do different things. I have more financial power now because I was broke as shit. And it's like now I can try new things that I just couldn't
afford to before. Right? Yeah.
And that's not to say, oh, now, when I travel, I go Michelin star fine dining. I've done that. But then, in Thailand, it's like, street food all day. I'm not, it's delicious. Why not?
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. Adrian's like, my best friend is single. I'm going to auction him. Do it. Oh, too funny. Thank you guys. This has been really fun. I love the interaction on the side. This is how it makes it like more enjoyable. Because I mean, as much as we love talking, we'd love to engage with the audience too. So I really appreciate you guys putting in the comments and asking questions and just sharing about yourself and saying hi and everything. So if you have any more questions, if there's anything that you want us to talk about in the future, let us know in the comments. Some people might be rewatching this, so always type it in the comment section. It's still there. And yes, where can the audience find you?
They can find me. I have a business, thrivingturtle.com, and it provides emotional intelligence, growth, and coaching. I particularly enjoy providing a platform to talk about things like this. You know, your
Hmm.
relationships, your identity, all of that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a topic that's too inappropriate, because I think I want to build a community, and I think you do too, where
Hmm.
it's okay to talk about these things. It's okay
Yeah.
to discover and not
Hmm.
be left wondering, like, am I doing
Yeah.
it? No, it's these are important topics.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I love it. You know, this is on the side. Jesse's like, is he into girl or boy? Like when Adrian is trying to auction his friend.
Important questions. Important questions.
But
They're both-
well, I'm like, it just kind of prompted me to like, should we start like a dating service
Yes, I'm gonna live my Asian parent
on the
dreams.
community? Yeah. There, I know there's a community called Alike Dating,
Hmm.
and it's for Asians,
Hmm.
kind of trying to find their identity and everything. So I might call them or connect with them and have them on the platform so we can share
No,
that as well if anybody's interested,
no.
because they reach out to me and we have exactly the same mission, so I feel
Mhm,
like that might be someone that would
mhm.
be beneficial for the audience.
Yeah, again, expectations. I met my partner online dating apps,
Hmm. Mm,
and it's, worst comes to worst, I'm still just as single as I was. And best case scenario, I find a partner that I love and cherish, and I've been
yeah.
with for years now.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I met my ex-husband on the dating app as well. I mean, it did work.
Hmm.
Like for the time it worked, so it did,
Hmm.
it was great. So, but everyone's different, right? Like it
Yeah.
depends on how you like go about it.
Yeah.
And nowadays, most people who are looking for dating are online. So,
Hmm.
and I realize there's like more eligible men on the dating apps because after the pandemic, it's like they broke up and they're like, oh, more men available.
Aw, I would definitely say huge introvert. No matter what hate apps get, I love them, because
Yeah,
they when you're on a dating app, the intention is you're there to date, hopefully.
right,
And
right.
so I didn't have to go through
Mm.
I have to figure out your intentions, and now I have to figure out if you're into
Mm,
me, and now I have to think way too much and become paranoid and overthink everything and think about
yeah.
one girl who's, made a comment 5 years ago and be like, was she into me? Maybe.
That's a very good point because I tend to like introverts. So
Mhm.
that's where they live on the dating world. Go on the dating apps. That's awesome. Okay, thank you guys. And Adrian, we need Asian friends like you. Yes. Awesome. We need more friends in the world.
Mhm. More
Okay.
more
All right.
friends and connections, never a bad thing.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'm at Unconventional Asians on Facebook, YouTube, and my Instagram, and I will eventually have a website up as well. So stay tuned for that. And again, any questions, let us know. We're gonna have more Facebook Lives for sure every Friday, but we might add extra segments on Wednesdays now if people are interested. Okay, so take care, and we will see you later.
Thank you, Clover.
Thank you, Howie.